Because we haven't been recording yet, probably for good reasons.
Probably, but now we don't have an intro.
No, it's fine. We'll figure out something.
That's our intro.
And scene.
And see. Hello, welcome to the Not Good Enough podcast, hosted by David and Andy, recording live on July 9th. That's Andy,
And that's David.
and this is episode 17. Give me 20 seconds. What's
All
up,
right,
Andy?
I
How's it
can do
going?
that.
Okay, all right.
We always talk over each other right after the intro. This is
Dude,
great.
it's not even planned. The thing is, before we even record the podcast, we're fucking talking normally like regular adults, and then as soon as we start recording, it goes downhill.
It goes downhill fast.
Really, yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
quick as hell.
Yeah.
But what's up, Andy? What's up with you, bro? We're in July. We're halfway throughout the year.
We are. Can you believe it?
Shit. I wish we were at the end of the year, Andy. I want to believe that so hard.
Well, it's sooner than later. It's gonna happen. What's new? What's new with the show, huh? Let's do our quick updates with the stats. So according to Anchor, we had another 17 plays, bringing it to 189 total plays. We are up 8 in the audience size. That's amazing. That's an 88% increase.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all.
So our audience size is now estimated to be 17. With YouTube, we have 8 subscribers. That's a +2 in the last 28 days. And as well as 48 views in the last 28 days. That's +26% in that. Facebook, we got one more follower. So we're now at 132. And this is great.
Yeah, thank you all for listening, for supporting the show. We appreciate it. We have big things coming up soon. We're
That's
actually
right.
we're gonna mention it a little bit here. We're each starting a little sub show, still part of the Not Good Enough family, as you will.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting one about anime because it's literally all I do. It's all I watch now.
That's right. And what I love to talk about and whatnot is budgeting. I'm such a nerd when it comes to that stuff. So yeah, well, David, go ahead and talk about your stuff, then I can elaborate more on that.
Yeah. So on mine, I'm figuring out the frequency. You know how frequent I want to do the episodes. I'm doing scripts, so I'm not gonna be saying and I'm not gonna sound like an idiot half the time because I'll just be reading. So
You're
I
actually
could
doing your homework. This is great.
I know, dude. The thing is, first script and Anthony, I almost called you Anthony. Andy saw it. It's like 4 pages long, and I told him in school I never wrote anything over half a page. I filled all of my essays, and I'm doing this
Mm-hmm.
shit now at 20 years old.
That's right. It's over 1,800 words. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, and I didn't repeat shit. So, so yeah, that's coming up soon. And then Andy has his about finances and
That's
budgeting and
right.
all that. Go ahead and take that over, sir.
Yeah. So how I want to go about it is kind of like a Q&A. So I'll get like hopefully I can get somebody to ask me a question like in their, it can be obviously anonymous if you wish. But I would like to have real world situations that you guys are in, as far as like oh my god, I have 15 credit cards. What do I do? And I will be happy to give you a objective um objective point on how to solve your problem, right? As far as like, this is your path that you need to take. You need to tackle these first and then move on from there. I think I'm very knowledgeable when it comes to budgeting. I am not knowledgeable when it comes to stock market. That is for damn sure. Um, but I love crunching numbers and I love budgeting. So as far as like tackling debt or figuring out should I go to school or should I buy a car, whatever the situation may be. Even ask me questions if it comes to like your work situation. Hey, I got like two job offers. Which one should I take? Maybe taking the one that pays more isn't going to be the best choice. It depends on the pros and cons. So that's what I would love to talk about. It can be emailed in or it can be an audio recording. However you want to give me the question or the scenario, I would love to talk about that stuff.
Yeah, Andy's actually the one that helped me budget my stuff out when I was getting kicked out of my house earlier this year.
That's
Or
right.
last year, earlier last year. Yeah, I went to his house, and then during those sessions is when we actually recorded the very first episode of the podcast, which we never actually put out because it was horrendous. I was using my
That's right. It was
AirPods. It was
Yeah,
bad.
it was like episode 0.1. It was a fucking alpha
Yeah,
test.
you thought episode one of this show, of the one that we actually put out, was bad. That shit was even worse. Times that by 10. It was so bad.
Mhm. But we had hardware and other pieces of technology that we were testing out. Obviously, you gotta get the bugs out, and our bugs are still fucking here. You know, uh, like that fucking spider that's still staring at me on the ceiling. But yeah, we're still working it out. But I think we're coming along.
Yeah, little by
But
little.
that's right. Let's you got anything else new to talk about, or you want to get to the good stuff, the content, the current events?
Let's see. Well, I did get a new piece of hardware last week,
Oh,
which
oh, yes,
has inspired me to do something else new with the show. So I got a brand new laptop last week
that's
because
right. Yes.
my other one sounded like a fucking Mustang every time I tried to open two tabs at once. And
And you were really lagging too. Yeah.
yeah, it was awful. So I went ahead and bought a new laptop. I spent big boy money. It's my first big boy purchase. It's
Hmm.
$1,100 this damn laptop. And this shit got all the specs, boy. 512 SD. Shit got this shit's a touchscreen. It's an Acer Spin 5, so this shit like you can use it as like a tablet. Like the screen goes all the way back.
Oh
It has a little
wow.
stylus
Okay.
and stuff. So with the
Look at you.
stylus, yeah, I've been fucking around. I can't draw. I'm like a high school history teacher. I can't draw, but dear Lord, I'll try. And I
Hmm.
was drawing up some ideas because we're also eventually going to do some merch for the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Um. We want to play around with that type of stuff. That way we can get stuff out to you guys. You can spread the word around like a virus, and we can make some more money so we can like improve on the gear that we have, and we can continue doing what we turns out what we like to do.
Yeah, yeah, and Andy has 2 degrees in
I
graphic
do.
design. So basically, mine are like really rough drafts, and he's like, "You're an idiot. I'm gonna make it better." So that's what he's doing with it. But what I want to do with the merch is I want to make it cool enough to, even if you don't listen to the podcast per se, you're like, "This shit's kind of cool. Kind of want to wear it just because it's a cool looking shirt or a cool looking hoodie, whatever,
Yeah.
hat, whatever." So
Yeah.
that's what we're doing in the future too. That's probably going to be a little way off, but in like a couple months.
Oh
But
yeah, we're still in the developmental stage. We're
yeah,
still trying to figure out what we want to do, how we want to go about it, what vendors we want to use, how are we going to have an e-commerce site, where can we do all the things, and yeah, we still got a lot of things to talk about and figure out, but that's kind of where we're at. Um, Even down the road we want to do video to a point, but who knows how far down the road that is. But these are the evolutions that we
yeah,
want to make, and we got goals and we're going towards it.
Yeah, definitely the next thing for us, the next big thing is the solo shows for each of
Yes,
us
for sure.
that we're gonna
Hmm.
have. That's possibly because it's the cheapest option.
Yeah, it's basically what we're doing now.
Yeah, it
we
really it just
Yeah,
costs time. It doesn't cost any money, so me and Andy are both comfortable with that idea.
that's right. Yeah. And it works for me because I can talk about, budgeting and money, any time of the day.
Yeah, so Andy's gonna have a fucking permanent vein popping out of his forehead the whole time.
It's not that bad when it's not really about me.
Well, you're just gonna relate it to your life, and you're like, "What a fucking piece of shit my life has been."
Yeah, well, it's great when I hear about other people's situations, especially when I listen to like Dave Ramsey, for example. I hear about unfortunate financial situations people are in, and then I'm like, oh, my life's not all that bad.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty good.
I try not to listen to that type of shit because I feel like my life would be like, "All right, bet," and then try to own up
Oh, you got 3 trucks?
it. Bet. Say less. Say no more.
I got you, fam. Good
All
stuff,
right,
man.
let's go to our first actual segment of the show:
Mhm.
current events. Let's see, Andy. We got teachers, parents, students, dogs, the government. Everybody's worried about schools reopening.
That's right, man. All right, let me give you the rundown on this. So, um, this is the last month of summer, David, or it usually is. It is my understanding that every state and every city are making their own decisions and preparations for the new school year, right? It's not really the responsibility of the federal government to tell like these high schools in our neighborhood to open up,
Nah, that's the
even though
state
they say
government
that is,
responsibility. Yeah.
it's this the state's responsibility for that. Um, well, in our neck of the woods, teachers and parents expressed concerns about reopening the schools, and many suggest delaying its currently scheduled August 10th date. That is 1 month away. Many suggested that face masks be mandatory, not just encouraged. Current plans for the reopening aren't specific enough and don't cover logistical issues they foresee, like not being able to clean restrooms more than once a day. I mean, you get a lot of kids there. That's a lot of traffic.
Yeah, how are you gonna go
So,
to the vape room? They have to keep cleaning it throughout the day.
yeah. So teachers want hazard pay, especially since COVID numbers continue to rise. A woman who is currently working in the summer reading program told the board members that she has already been exposed at least once. She said the children forget to bring face masks or they simply take them off. They're kids, right?
Yeah,
For students that are attending hard to get into schools, parents are worried if their kid will lose their spot if they opt out for one of the learn from home options. During the meeting, more questions came up, like how buses would operate with fewer passengers to maintain social distancing, and what the procedures will be should a child or a teacher become sick. School board members seemed Wednesday. This was last yesterday, I believe. Yes, school board members seemed Wednesday evening to learn toward delaying um, leaned toward oh my god,
you
delaying
alright,
the
bro? Jesus
schools.
Christ.
No, no, I need more coffee. Uh, they want to delay the schools from opening as long as possible. Several expressed a desire to make wearing uh, desire to mask wearing mandatory rather than just encouraged. Decisions on those issues could come in a meeting next Wednesday. they said. The superintendent, Karen Clark, told the board that because of a state mandate, all brick and mortar schools in August must be open 5 days a week to students. She also said that they also will put in a request to the state for students to be allowed to study online, either through Digital Academy or Alachua eSchool. I guess those are what
They're
on,
it's kind of like
online.
yeah, it's kind of like Florida Virtual School. It's like its own little program. I used to do Florida Virtual School. I don't remember if I did Elantra E School. I do remember in high school that we did do FOBS. Um,
Gotcha.
so
Um,
it's kind of weird.
just a little bit more.
Yeah,
While teachers and parents gave their opinions, school board members did not engage in any debate or discussion. They just heard it all. They plan to meet again next week and will have a final version of the plan ready during the final week of July. The deadline to submit their plan is July 31st. Clark said, I know there are a lot of questions and concerns from parents, teachers, and students. Our staff has worked very hard putting together more details in these plans, and we will listen to residents about their concerns. Clark also talked about perhaps having a final meeting on the plan July 28th and sending the plan to the state on July 29th. So again, schools are supposed to open up on August 10th. And this episode has come out on July 10th, meaning that there's exactly 1 month away from schools opening. So we're losing time.
yeah.
this is it,
So
it's
I find it a little weird that they have the date set so early. See, what, so it's a lot of factors set into it. So
mhm,
I believe that they should wait until the next semester, which starts in January, just because the COVID that it went down and then it's going right back up here, at least here in Florida, like to like considerable numbers again.
mhm.
So I wonder why don't they just hold off on that to minimize any type of exposure or just minimize any type of hazard to anybody, teachers, students, parents, everybody
Mhm.
involved, the workers at the school, because the shit is pretty bad out here.
Mhm.
And then the schools like they already have the system already up for online school, and there's already some students. There were some students at when I was in high school. I was already doing all online school. I wonder why didn't they just do that? But then again, on the other side of the perspective of the coin, the teachers or not the teachers, the parents, they want to get rid of their fucking kids. I don't mean that in a bad way, but everybody's stressed out this fucking quarantine. I'm probably the less stressed out person. It's because I live alone. If I stress myself out, it's with myself. I
Well,
don't have any kids. But if you have a kid, like you can't you can't take care of them because you have to go to work and but what if they're not
mhm,
old enough? What if they're like in elementary school, middle school? You don't trust them to
yeah.
be alone, but they just can't be alone. Or you don't have anybody to take care of them. Daycare's closed. You have to be on top of them because school. Like
Mhm.
if you go to work and then you leave the kid home to do online school, how do you guarantee that the kid's gonna do the online school and not just play fucking Call of Duty all day? So
Exactly.
there's a lot of not pros and cons, but different perspective arguments on each side of the coin.
There's most definitely a lot of variables involved. Especially, when it comes to, well, we got to get the economy up and going, because we got to get the workers back, working, we got to get the businesses back, well, they all got kids. They can't give them the kids can't go to school cuz they're not going to be open, but it's going to be what was the term, cesspool of like all these kids coming from, all the different areas into into one confined area. I mean, it's going to be chaotic when it comes to, it's it's going to be a biological bomb that goes off basically, and everybody's going to get sick. One person could easily affect everybody. and it's it's there is no right answer for this situation.
No, this is
There's
all
there's always
brand new,
there,
basically.
there's gonna be a good solution, but there's gonna be a lot of negative. There's a lot of negative, involved with an answer. You know, there, there's no one right answer for this, and it's gonna be tough. And we're trying to maneuver, all of this with, and there's so many moving parts. We got to get the kids back into school because they're still evolving as humans, and they need to be interacting socially because they need to get their social skills up and going, because kids that are completely homeschooled, from my opinion, they
Yeah.
sometimes have a problem, when it comes to coming into, the workforce right away. I mean, I that's my opinion. I don't know if that's completely accurate, but I have noticed that. Like, I can, like, pinpoint if they don't do social things. I've noticed some things that are different from 100% homeschool people.
Yeah. And see, and we can all agree that, or for the most part, most of us can agree that it's August 10th is too soon, bro, to open up.
From my, experience, I thought it was always like the last week in August,
Yeah,
or like,
that's what I thought. Shit, and then I felt like every year they kept moving it up like 2 3 days. Like especially my last like 5 years of schooling, I felt like it was like in the middle of August and then it was like in the beginning of August. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, why do
yeah,
they keep
it was
taking shit
always like
away?
the second week in August, or the
Yeah,
the third week. It
the
was always
third
like
week.
the
Yeah,
third week. It was always like on a fucking Thursday or some shit like that.
yeah,
Like, it
like on
made no
Tuesday and
sense.
shit. Yeah, they're like, we don't want to come back on Monday. But if anything, I feel like they should wait until January or not another nine or second 9 weeks just to you know not iron out the details is what I'm trying to say. Like
Right.
make sure everything's set for it. It is way too soon. I don't think they're giving themselves enough time to field all the concerns and come up with viable solutions.
Well, I want to make one more point that's kind of related to this. It's related to, the education with students. This is like for universities and whatnot, like international students. So what happens is, there's like a unfortunate loophole for international students. If the campuses are 100% virtual, meaning that you don't need to attend a physical class, then students that are here going to school from other countries are going to be, hey, you got to go home. You can't be in the country then, because if they got the visa just for an education, they don't need to be in the country because their school's online. They could do it
Yeah,
overseas.
over there. Yeah,
And that's also another problem that's happening. You know, it's all messed up. you know.
yeah. It's gonna be
Um
interesting how we all go about this. But I feel like we should wait a little while to iron out the details instead of feel like they're rushing it back into it a little bit.
they're most definitely rushing. They're like, damn it, we need to get this, everything operational again. We need to go back to how it was, but it's not how it was right now. There's still there's still a major virus going around. People are still getting sick. People are still dying, and everybody's like, "Nah, it'll iron itself out. It's fine." Doesn't work that way.
So yeah, we'll see where this goes. We'll probably update it whenever they come up with an actual solution. But we'll go
Yeah.
ahead and go to the next segment of today's show, the game of the week. All right, Andy, we're talking about a game that is possibly the next evolution step of this virus. We're talking about Days Gone. It's
Okay.
a PS4 exclusive zombie game.
That's right.
Um,
I have seen a lot of gameplay about this game.
yeah, so the game came out a couple years ago. believe in 2018, if I remember correctly. It's been a while.
I'm
But
pulling it up.
I recently bought it last week because it was on sale. I think it was on sale. I'm not sure, but I
It
bought
doesn't
it. It
matter
was
with you.
It
That's
doesn't
junk
matter.
money. I got it.
Yeah, it's money. But yeah, I went ahead and bought it because I've always been interested in it. But it wasn't anything that I was too excited to play, like something that I had to have. But I was looking at the games last. I was looking at the PS Store, and I'm like, I've always wanted to play it. I guess now would be the time. I don't really have anything else to play. But I went ahead and bought it, and
Mhm.
it's definitely a much different experience than what I thought it was gonna be.
Oh, yeah?
So yeah, I was watching E3 live when it was announced with the gameplay. In the railroad with all the massive fucking horde of zombies.
Mm.
And I think it was back in 2017 I saw the E3 gameplay. And
Well,
yeah, I was like, oh,
here,
it's gonna be yeah, go ahead.
let me get you the dates here. So, originally, it was slated for a 2018 launch. Days Gone was delayed several times, and it eventually was released on April 26th, 2019.
I'm a whole year off, but yeah. Oh, well, it was announced 2017 if I remember correctly. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So it looked like another generic zombie game. It was
Sure.
it had a massive hordes, but it just looked like a more polished World War Z because
Would
that
you
game
think
has
that it
massive
was
hordes.
would you think it was like another Left 4 Dead?
I've never played Left 4 Dead, and Micah, our girlfriend Micah, keeps talking about it, but I've never played it. I've never really seen gameplay either. But I thought it was more like along the lines of a more serious tone of Dead Rising, if you've
Mm.
seen that.
Yeah, yeah, that game too. I had it on my computer at one point, Dead Rising. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was more along those lines. Just massive hordes.
Sure.
Like that's like the staple of the game. Every
Yeah,
game has like
and they
its
keep
thing.
on coming. Yeah.
Yeah, and on the gameplay trailer, it looked like they were just dying quickly, all that stuff. So I had that impression from it. First impression. It wasn't a great one, but I love zombies, so I was like, I want to play it, but like I said earlier, it's not something that grabbed my attention to get right there. So when I did end up buying it, it diverted my expectations. I expected it to be another generic zombie game,
Mhm.
and it started out kind of slow, but it really just changed how I felt about it. So it's more along the lines of like a survival game in terms of it the ammo is scarce in the very beginning. Like, boy, this
Oh,
shit is
that
scarce.
sucks. Yeah.
And then the zombies don't die like they did in the goddamn trailer, bro. They don't die in one hit, bro. You gotta go at them. You gotta shoot them like 4 or 5 times with the pistol to kill them. And
Jesus.
then you have to, with the melee, like if you pick up a bat or something, it's gonna take like 5 hits. And then just having two zombies you could deal with. Having three or more zombies, I fucking died every single time. So I had to go around, stealthily killing the zombies and shit, which is not something I expected to be doing in playing Days Gone. And it definitely caught my attention. It's more, I was expecting to play it like a fucking, another run and gun zombie game. Just a lot of,
Mhm.
like World War Z. I played World War Z before. I still play it, and
Mhm.
I ended up playing shit like Last of Us. I'm fucking sneaking around, shitting people zombies in the fucking face. And when I got my first horde, I wasn't expecting. I was doing this little medical research camp thing to turn on the power and get a little upgrade. And
Mhm.
they were in the train car and they got out that train car. And when I turned my camera around, Andy, there was like 600 fucking zombies behind me. And I said, "Oh, guess how many bullets I had?
2.
5 on a pistol. I had one Molotov. Molotov killed 2 zombies." And I'm stubborn, so I kept dying, and I would go back. And I'm like, God, it's just I don't want to kill the zombies. I just want to fucking get the thing. And
Yeah.
I had to come back to that camp, in like a good like 6 hours later, when I
Mhm.
was done with all the side missions, and my stamina was up, and I got more skill points and shit. It's
Mhm.
more, yeah, it's something the hordes don't come out in the beginning. You have to work for it, which I like. But
Mhm.
there are a couple things with the story. The story has amazing dialogue. Amazing in the sense that it doesn't sound like it's a scripted moment. It's the characters sound natural speaking to each other, saying not saying words, but the words that they're saying sounds like a regular conversation. Now,
Okay. So
the
it's
the
pretty dynamic
performances, yes, the
then. Okay.
performances were a little iffy in my eyes,
You talk
especially
about
in cutscenes.
the animations or just the dialogue is, like, just flat?
Just not that it was shit. The complete opposite of flat. It was like too enthusiastic.
Oh, it
Like
was
the
too
main
dramatic.
character, yeah, like the main character Deacon, like he just like gets fucking like he's like an impatient motherfucker, dude. Like he's impatient and he just half the time he screams and you're like wondering like, dude, like it's just a regular conversation, bro. Like, are you so angry?
'Cause there's fucking zombies everywhere.
There was a moment, bro, where he gets a radio from one of the the SWAT people in the game,
Yeah.
and he wants to radio this guy, and he literally just gave the radio to the guy in the previous cutscene, dead ass like 30 seconds ago, and he's
Mhm.
screaming in the radio, "O'Brien, pick up, O'Brien, pick up now, Brian, you better pick up this goddamn radio, I'm gonna kill you." I'm just like, bro, you literally just gave him the radio, bro. Calm down, dog.
Yeah, so why wasn't he picking up?
Yeah, well, probably because there's like 7 other people there that didn't know he had the fucking radio. That he probably doesn't want to talk to the guy in front of the other people, and the other people are like, "Hey, bro, so who's that guy you talking to?" You know?
Hey, what why is your ass yelling at us?
and then, wow, you think you're so funny, and and then like there's some moments in the cutscenes, especially where there's like a moments of silence where it's just like, are they gonna say the next line? Are
Mm.
they like skipping the next line? What's going on here? And you're just wondering it doesn't seem too natural. The words that they speak are natural, but the way they say it comes off a little bit unnatural. It felt a little weird, and there was also some parts in the game where you felt like there was some gameplay that needed to be there, but then it just skips to another scene. Like I remember specifically, there was a flashback in the beginning of the game, in the first quarter of the game, where you go back to when the pandemic first started, the zombie pandemic,
Mhm.
and then the guy's like, there's somebody, he's there in a garage, and the guys and that owns the garage is shooting in the garage, shooting at them. So Deacon, the main character, tells Boozer, his biker friend, his biker buddy, to grab his attention. He's gonna go around and go behind him, sneak up on him. And
Sure.
you think there would be some gameplay or something, or at least you would see Deacon do it. But then it
Mhm.
just fades to black, and then it fades back into him being behind the guy, and it just felt like there was supposed to be gameplay there, but then there wasn't. It was there was a couple moments like that, similar to that in the game, where it just felt like something was cut out. And then
Hmm.
I have a regular PS4. I don't have a Pro. I wanted a Pro, but I was a broke boy when I bought it.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, that FPS, dude. Oh man, that shit went down to like zero a couple times. And dude, surprisingly, it doesn't happen much with the hordes. Like, obviously, there's
Huh.
some FPS issues with the hordes, but like, it's only at the very beginning, and after that, you don't really get FPS issues. I mostly noticed the FPS issues when I would like drive into a camp or drive to another like area of the
Mhm.
map, and I would just assume it's because it's loading up that area of the map, so
Sure, yeah.
it's having a little bit trouble with it. I don't
Mhm.
think it's an issue with a pro, but that's just something that I noticed with it. And then the graphics, some are amazing, and then there's other parts where I guess you don't get the scope of what they meant. A very big thing in the game is at the very beginning, Boozer, your biker buddy, gets injured. They like burn his arm, and then towards the middle of the game, they're like, they're saying he has blood poisoning, and I'm just staring at the screen like, bro, it doesn't look that bad. And, and I guess it's just because the graphics just didn't show that it looked bad. It just looked like fucking, I don't know, like a fucking blister.
Mm.
So it was stuff like that, but it's I think it's a great game. I'm not done with it yet. I'm like a little bit over halfway, I would say.
Okay.
I'm having a great fucking time with it.
Now
I'm really enjoying it.
this is not a type of game that you can just run through, is it?
Uh, well, see, I'm really taking my time with this game. I'm not doing what I usually do.
Oh my god.
I know, dude. I'm a different man now. I've been watching all the cutscenes.
Yeah. Mhm.
I've been doing all the side missions before the main missions. I've been doing all the little like side activities, like getting the Nero camps and then clearing out infestation zones. And I think it's something that you could run through. I feel like you get the upgrades don't the skill tree like half of this or actually more than half of the skill tree is like that's stupid, bro. Like it's not useful.
Mm,
So like once you get the skills that are useful for you, that's really all you need. And there's like 4 or 5 that are really good. And the rest are like, whatever. Like it's just something to have.
gotcha.
So like yeah, I think it's a game you could run through if
Huh,
if you had the means to it.
interesting. Okay. But yeah, this is a single player game. Is it and it also says it's a action adventure survival horror game. Is this third person?
Yeah, it is third person and it's RPG like in the sense that you gain trust with different camps. There's like three.
Okay.
So far, I've noticed 3 different camps. You gain trust with them, and then that's how you get better equipment. So, like to get like I have an AUG right now, but I think in the game it's called like an MPS 40, but in like Call of Duty, whatever, it's an AUG. And the AUG, you have to have like trust level 2 with one of the camps, and
Mm,
so to get better gear, you need to have that trust there. So that's why I've been doing all the side activities first, so I can gain all that
gotcha.
trust.
Sure.
And then
Yeah.
your bike, since you were in a biker gang, you're technically still in a biker gang. Your
Mhm.
bike is a really big deal. Like I've been upgrading my bike. I'm more excited to upgrade my bike than I am the main character, and that says something about the game. The bike is fucking amazing, and
Mhm.
it's interesting that it has a mechanic where gas is one of those things that you have to worry about
Oh,
in the
good.
game.
Mhm.
And at first, you could barely fucking drive everywhere. But the mechanic that they have is if you're going downhill, if you let go of the accelerator and you just like fucking like you save gas just going downhill gravity, it makes sense, but I haven't seen that in a game in another game. It probably has been, but I haven't noticed it, you feel me?
Sure, yeah.
And I just like how they implemented all that.
Oh, very neat, man. Yeah, too bad I don't have a PlayStation.
Yeah, well,
Ugh,
yeah.
maybe. Yeah, what's in about 6 years when I get these loans paid off. I'll get a PlayStation 6 or whatever it is. Um, so yeah, I'm looking on here and it looks like they were nominated for a lot of different awards going back to 2016. For example, 2016 they were nominated for the most wanted game. But for the ones that they did win in 2019, they won best visual design, best storytelling, and PlayStation Game of the Year, as well as best Spanish performance.
Oh, damn, I haven't even seen any Spanish. I might have to switch that shit.
So maybe and also in 2020 they got they won the award for best music sound design. That was with the 2020 Webby Awards.
Oh yeah, yeah. The sound is pretty good in the game. There's a
Um,
couple moments where it's really eerie and it's not scary, but I guess it's scary in the sense that the environment is scary.
your armpit started sweating. Come on, we know. Um, yeah, man, switch it over to Spanish. You speak Spanish, so yeah, give that a try. Maybe it was originally designed in Spanish.
In
That's
Spanish,
why the
yeah.
performance is just weird in
Yeah.
English.
Yeah, I'll pop that bitch in Spanish.
Yeah, give that a try. See what that's like.
So yeah, if you're listening to this, you have a PS4, you haven't played it yet, definitely play it. It's not one of those generic zombie games. It at least tries really, really hard to be different. And it does it I would say a really good way.
Sweet man.
So yeah, we're going from video games to another type of media, we're going to go on to movies. This week, John is going to review Hamilton. So we're going to go ahead and let John take that over. Go ahead, John.
Podcast community. Not Good Enough Podcast. David and Andy, what's going on, boys? John Caroline here. We're talking movies. This week we're going to be talking about Hamilton. Watched this on 4th of July. It was a 4th of July Founding Fathers Friday for me. Had some wine. It was fun. It was a good time. Quarantined up. Hope everybody out there listening, staying safe, staying sanitary, staying sane. Let's get into this thing. Hamilton is a 2020 filming of the now famous play, written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, directed by Thomas Kail. Kail is mostly known for filming live-action adaptations of plays. He's most famously known for the 2016 live-action adaptation of both the play and movie Grease, which I think was on NBC or CBS or something like that a couple years ago. It looks like he's currently developing a modern version of Fiddler on the Roof. So this director definitely has a niche. He definitely has a particular area that he shines in. That being music and musicals. But I gotta say the highlight of this one is definitely the director's performance behind the camera. He and Radical Media, holy shit. I've listened to the soundtrack a couple times from some friends, and I kind of knew about it, but I'd never seen the play. Holy shit, it was incredible. Listening to the soundtrack's amazing, but I mean, the music is so incredibly catchy, and it gets stuck in your head. But I mean, listen to the musical. It doesn't hold a candle to seeing this live. Well, I guess not live, semi-live, because it is a filming of a live performance. We'll call it semi-live. But this thing's a work of art. My God. I can only imagine how magical this music is actually live. Seeing all of this go down in front of you on stage. Seeing everybody move around, taking advantage of that rotating stage. My God. It's such an incredibly well put together project on all fronts. I mean, major shout out to the production set, to Lin-Manuel Miranda for writing. He writes just incredibly catchy melodies. The acting and voice performances are absolutely stunning. Everybody knocks it out of the park in this. It was partially written by who I believe an absolute rock star in Lin-Manuel Miranda, who's now famous for not only this musical and this play, but also has gone on to write for Disney's Moana, so another huge hit and musical. And he also starred in Mary Poppins Returns. Like I said, the music in this project is incredibly catchy, and what a smart way to reach out to a broader audience, and to be able to include youth by using hip hop as the medium for telling the story. It was so much fun to watch. I can't imagine. Yeah, I just can't imagine seeing this live. So let's get down to the background. So this film was originally recorded in 2016 over 3 performances from the original 2015 Broadway cast, including some Broadway and voice megastars such as Lin-Manuel Miranda, Jonathan Groff, Daveed Diggs, Leslie Odom Jr. So many. Everybody in this was just incredible. After filming in 2016, editing occurred over the rest of 2016 and early into 2017 by Kail and the rest of the company at Radical Media. They did both the filming and the editing. And the film originally, it was originally intended was going to be marketed as a documentary, kind of as a behind the scenes of all this as this musical grew and became more and more famous, and became such a superstar of a piece. But early in February 2020, I guess at some point in time, Disney had purchased the rights, and they tossed out the shekels. They bought this film for, I think, $75 million is what the internet reported. Just a shitload of money. It was originally supposed to be like a documentary, but I guess Disney wanted to be kind of just straightforward film. They announced in February 2020 that they'd purchased the rights, and they were originally going to release it October of next year. But as you all know, unfortunately, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Disney decided to go ahead and just release it early, and they released it straight to Disney Plus on the 3rd of July, which I was stoked to hear, because I knew that was going to be my 4th of July plans. The performances in this are absolutely stunning. The visuals, the use of the cinematography and close-ups, they absolutely set the tone in every single scene. The use of the cinematography in this is incredible. The production value for the film, not only for the film, but the play on the whole, absolutely incredible. The stage rotates throughout the play, and the way they use the rotating stage is just sheer genius. What a way to make the most of just one piece, and it works through the entire musical. Through this entire movie. The tone of the film is pretty much set from the first musical number, and you're hooked. I was, at least, watching this. I was in it till the end, right off the bat from the first musical number. If any of our listeners haven't listened to the soundtrack, or they haven't been to the play live, I don't really see any live theaters or operas or anything opening anytime soon. So I would absolutely suggest watching this if you've got the time this week. It's such an amazingly fun way to learn about the founding fathers, and the creating of this country. I think one thing that I genuinely enjoy about this musical is that it is pretty much straightforward. There's no bias. It doesn't lean any way political, left or right, conservative or liberal or anything like that. It's just a straightforward telling of what happened, and it's such a heart-wrenching and punch to the gut play as you see this guy Alexander Hamilton, how his life goes. I've suggested this to so many friends, and everybody who's given it a chance haven't had any complaints. And if they are, they're minimum. It's just a damn good play, and I can't suggest this one enough. If you guys have the time, definitely check out Thomas Kail's Hamilton. Hope everybody's staying safe. Hopefully you guys are staying sane, staying sanitary. I know times are tough, but we'll get through this. Until next week, hope you guys enjoyed the movie.
All right, thank you for that review on Hamilton, John. We appreciate that. And Andy, we're gonna go ahead and take a quick little break now.
Okay, sounds good, man.
Yeah, so we'll catch you in a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and go into the conspiracy week, and then what makes us mad. So we'll see you now.
All right, and welcome back to the second half of episode 17. My goodness. We're coming back into the conspiracy of the week. This week, we're talking about Project MK Ultra. So, David, last week you thought this was another shop in our local mall. You thought it was like beauty makeup or some shit like
Yeah,
that.
I thought it was a new Michael Kors line or some shit.
That's right.
Yeah, I was in
Um,
for a surprise when I saw a YouTube video about it.
yeah. So let's get into it. So MK Ultra. MK Ultra also is known as the CIA Mind Control Program. It is the code name given to a program of experiments on human subjects that were designed by the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, some of which were illegal. Experiments on humans were intended to identify and develop drugs and procedures to be used in interrogations to weaken the individual and force confessions through mind control. The project was organized through the Office of Scientific Intelligence of the CIA and coordinated with the United States Army Biological Warfare Laboratories. Code names for drug related experiments were Project
Oh,
Bluebird and Project Artichoke. The operation was officially sanctioned in 1953. It reduced in scope in 1964 and further curtailed in 1967. It was officially halted in 1973. The
so
program, what's that?
it took him like 20 years to stop that shit.
Yeah, exactly over a span of 20 years. The program engaged in many illegal activities, including including the use of U.S. and Canadian citizens as its chance test subjects, which led to controversy regarding its legitimacy. MK Ultra used numerous methods to manipulate its subjects' mental states and brain functions. Techniques included the covert administration of high doses of psychoactive drugs, especially LSD, and other chemicals, electroshocks, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, isolation, verbal and sexual abuse, as well as other forms of torture. The scope of the project MK Ultra was broad, with research undertaken at more than 80 institutions, including colleges and universities, hospitals, prisons, and pharmaceutical companies. The CIA operated using front organizations, although sometimes top officials at these institutions were aware of the CIA's involvement. MK Ultra was first brought to public attention in 1975 by the Church Committee of the United States Congress and General Ford's United
General Ford,
States, yeah, General Ford's
Gerald
United
Ford's.
Gerald Ford's that one. Okay. United States President's Commission on CIA Activities within the United States, also known as the Rockefeller Commission. Investigative efforts were hampered by the CIA director Richard Helms ordered that the MK Ultra files be destroyed in 1973. The Church Committee and Rockefeller Commission investigations relied on the sworn testimony of direct participants and on the relatively small number of documents that survived Helms' destruction order. In 1977, a Federal of Information Act request uncovered a cache of 20,000 documents relating to the project MK Ultra, which led to Senate hearings later that year. Some surviving information regarding MK Ultra was declassified in July 2001. Shortly ago, in December 2018, declassified documents, including a letter to unidentified doctor, to, uh, to an unidentified doctor,
Ooh, you almost
discussing
had it.
work on 6 dogs made to run, turn, and stop via remote control and brain implants. So it's not makeup.
Yeah, no, definitely not makeup. Close. Like it's close. I feel like makeup was probably a route of mind control that they were trying to go.
Yeah, there was a lot of administration on how they did stuff. Like there was, down the line in the Wikipedia page, um, it talks about materials which will cause the victim to age faster, slower in maturity. There is materials which will promote the intoxicating effect of alcohol. Let's see, substances which produce physical disablement, such as paralysis of the legs. Substances which would produce a chemical that can cause blisters. Materials which will cause temporary or permanent brain damage and loss of memory. Like they were just,
They dabbled everywhere. Is what
they
happened.
they were testing everything out.
See,
Uh,
so the in the YouTube video that I was watching,
yeah.
this all started because and I think in like '49, they they heard that Russia got a bomb, an atomic bomb, and they got it from basically stealing the blueprint. From what I heard, stealing the blueprint from the Americans through spies, and they were doing this whole thing, the whole mind control thing over there or whatever. And then the CIA was like, "Damn, that's unethical, unmoral, immoral,
That's right. We're gonna do it ourselves and be better at
illegal, and we're gonna fucking one up you on it." That's basically what happened.
it. Mhm.
And then so it's funny because we see like in a lot of TV shows and stuff like spies and having all this mind control stuff and like there's one example of like how some spy movies, especially I remember Kingsman has it, an
Mhm.
umbrella that has like a gun on it, like a
Yes.
pellet gun. Yeah,
Mhm.
they had that shit for real, bro,
Oh
back in the
yeah.
day. Like this shit has a source material. The source material was this fucking era with
Mhm.
Michael Kors Ultra line here that we're talking about
Mhm.
with the CIA. And dude, what a time to be alive back then. Imagine being in the CIA, like, yo, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, like talk about secret agents. This was definitely a time to be alive. From the 50s to the 70s, they had some crazy shit going on.
Yeah,
It was
like,
crazy times. I mean,
yeah, it was crazy shit. Yeah, you think 2020's bad? Oh, buddy,
yeah.
back then they didn't have Wi-Fi. There was no fucking on demand. There was no Netflix.
No, you get the newspaper in the morning. That was
Yeah,
about it.
we get the newspaper on the fucking internet 24/7.
Yeah, this is
So
some
I
crazy stuff, man.
Yeah, they were talking about doing the experiments on Canadians. You think maybe they like kind of passed on the Canadian testing, and then that's the reason why Canadians are so nice. It's probably because they were probably mean that we like mind
You
control
think?
them.
You
Yeah,
think
and
that is the
now they're so
reason why
nice.
Canadians are so nice all the time?
Yo, it could be. Honestly, we're talking about conspiracies here. I guess what really is a conspiracy here though, because this is proven fact. This actually happens. So what really is the conspiracy?
Um,
I'm posing a question. Just gonna go ahead and open my monster.
so so MK Ultra definitely happened. Obviously, I mean everything. There's so many documents that have been declassified. But there is also a long list of films, televisions, audio, and others that MK Ultra is like made an appearance, basically, or referenced in a way. Um, you know, in films, for example, all the way back in 1963, all the way to 2015, according to the list that I got, and then all the different TV shows like It's in the pop culture for sure.
Damn. So I guess the conspiracy is how much other shit that they do that we don't know about.
That's right, because they destroyed a lot of the stuff, but they didn't destroy everything. So what do we not know?
Yeah.
There's a
How ma-
lot of shit. Yeah.
how many other lines of Michael Kors stuff do they have that they fucking did back then? You know?
Mhm.
So I guess that's the real question to pose. And we're gonna stop right there just because I don't want the government to come after us. I'm actually kind of comfortable with my current situation. So we're gonna go on
Right.
to the next one. We're just gonna leave you with that question imposed in your head.
Sure.
So let's see. Last segment of the episode, Andy. What makes us mad? Andy, you know what
All
kind of
right.
makes me mad? Talking about the U.S.
Um well, all the shady shit that they have done in the past and, refuse to admit it.
Well, Jesus, man, my God, the complete opposite of where I was going. Um,
Oh. Well, shit, what makes you mad?
well, well, shit, I should have posed the question differently. Uh, people wanting everything to be made in the U.S., like being manufactured here and stuff.
Oh, really? This would be interesting. All right, man.
Yes,
Tell
so
me.
yes. So this is directly in relation to the conversation that I have a lot with my one of my coworkers.
Okay.
One of my the senior techs on my job.
Okay.
She and I have conversations about this a lot because she prefers everything being manufactured in the U.S. and she doesn't really support stuff that isn't being made here because it doesn't support us economically.
Yeah,
And
it's imported, so we buy the things that they sell and that's it.
yeah,
Sure.
and which is I understand where she's coming from, and I agree to a point. But the thing that I'm trying to get her to see is that the U.S. doesn't really make stuff like it doesn't give you an incentive to make stuff here, which is why a
Mhm.
lot of stuff is made in China. There's incentives to make it in China. There's the fact that it's much cheaper to make it there in China. It's there's less regulations and stuff that you have to worry about. I bet the taxes are lower, which kind of goes with the financial stuff. And then also like China already has the infrastructure to manufacture all those things.
Mhm.
China, if I think China's like of equal size or not bigger or whatever to the US, relatively equal size, but they've been manufacturing stuff for forever basically. That's why most of the stuff is made in China. There's a lot of people in China that go to the factories and they work in China, and it's cheaper to make stuff there. Yeah, the quality isn't always the best. I understand that, but there's no reason for a company to come to the U.S. or a company that's already based in the U.S. to manufacture stuff here if it's going to cost them triple the amount of what it costs them to make it in China. Especially if it's a brand new company or just starting out where they have a product and they want to get out there. There's a lot of
Mhm.
demand, and you know the quality will suffer, sure, but if they manufacture in China, they don't have to worry about the finances as much. You know.
Sure.
And
Mhm.
in the U.S., like really, what she was saying how she supports stuff that's made in the U.S., but really, how many people are actually checking everything and only buying stuff that's made in the U.S. Do you do it, Andy?
It's very hard to.
Yeah,
I
I'll
try to
do it.
be I try to be aware of what I'm what I like to buy and where it's like coming from, but it's not really going to deter me from, oh, I mean I like this, but it's made in China, so I'm going to buy it there, or oh, cool. This is also made in America. Oh, it's a look. See, for my wife and I, what we're trying to do now is we're trying to buy local. So I guess in a sense, yes, we're buying made in America stuff, but that's not necessarily the case in that situation. If I'm buying local from a local shop, they
That doesn't
could
mean it.
be
Yeah,
they could be having their own products being imported from China to their shop, and then I buy it from them. So I could be buying stuff from China, but it's a local business. I'm a mom and pop shop, what have you. But I still buy shit on Amazon.
yeah.
you know, I mean, I
Amazon's
kid you
stupid.
not. My wife just bought like shampoo and conditioner from Amazon. You know, but there you go.
Yeah,
So it depends. I mean, it's not like a hard yes or no. As far as like what we buy things from.
yeah. So, and that's the case with many people. Many people, at the end of the day, don't really care that it's not. They don't. They're not. It's not really going to deter a lot of people from buying stuff that's made in China.
I
They're
mean,
gonna, they might, they might be aware of it. Like you're aware of it. Oh, another thing made in China. Whatever. But if you think about it, economically, it doesn't make much sense to when you're starting out a business or you already have a business that has a lot of demand for your supply. It doesn't make a lot of sense economically to make purposely manufacture stuff in the U.S.
yeah, and
Where
that's
you
obviously.
have to pay people more, and yeah, that's a problem over there. But I'm saying disregard the ethical issues. I'm not saying it's ethically correct or it's morally correct or whatever, but economically, financially, it's smarter to do it over there.
I
There's
think.
not a lot of people checking for actively making sure that they're only buying stuff from the U.S. And really, for a company, if you make stuff in the U.S., there's really not much other you can do besides just fucking be putting a sticker on your product that says "made proudly made in the U.S."
Mhm. It really depends. Depends on the company that you have. Depends on the product that you're trying to make. Like if you're making like some type of electronic. I mean, you might be getting you know bits and pieces from all over the world, and you manufacture it here, or America. What happens a lot of times is that America will build the specific components, send it overseas to have it actually manufactured in factories like in China, for example, and then they'll ship it back over here and then, sell it that way. That's also a thing. It just depends on the phases that things are need to be constructed in.
Yeah, like if I remember correctly, the iPhone it's designed
Mhm.
here in the U.S. It's designed in
Mhm.
Cali, but
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure it's manufactured in China,
Yeah.
and that's not a bad quality product. I guess China just has a bad stigma, bad stigma of it's lower quality. It's not good. It's bad. They're especially with this Corona thing going on. Everybody's blaming China for stuff, and I feel like it just makes stuff worse. Like it
Yeah.
people just are just coming out of woodwork more saying, "Oh, how bad China is," and
Mhm.
I was trying to explain to my coworker that there's really if you were to start a business today and you have a product that you want to have mass produced and you have limit especially when you're starting out you're not like fucking you're not Apple, you don't have not an endless supply but a decent supply of money to be over here manufacturing shit in Gainesville.
Sure.
You're gonna send the shit overseas. You're gonna send it where it's cheaper for you to try to get the same quality, the highest quality product for a cheaper price.
Yeah. I mean, sure. But then if you want to be a diehard, absolutely not. I don't want to have it manufactured over there. I got some vendors here in town that I want to use. Then your dollar might not go as far as like how much you can make, uh, as far as like how much you can actually produce. But that's gonna be your own call as far as like the business decision that you end up making.
Yeah, and there's definitely 100% more thousands of factors you have to take into it. I'm just talking about
Yeah.
one, and I'm ignoring all the other ones. But which is what I like to do a lot.
is what matters.
This is the one that makes me mad. So, but yeah, so like, I don't know.
But I
And
hear
I
you,
understand
man.
where she's coming.
hear
I
you.
understand where she's coming from. Yeah, I would. It's not that I would prefer, but it'd be nice for shit to be made here. Give us more jobs and all that stuff. But then again, we'll be taking jobs over there. Yeah, we live here in the U.S. and we have to care about the U.S., but we have to care about everybody in the world too. We can't just care about the U.S. and then shit on somebody else. I might be an
Wait,
asshole,
I
Andy,
thought that
but I'm
was
not a
the
bad
American
person.
way, man.
Yeah, well, it's not really going good for us now.
It most certainly isn't. We're all on the same fucking rock. We're the same species. Believe it or not.
Yeah, and regulation wise, government wise, there's not much incentive to make it here, and there's not much. I don't see a lot of infrastructure to make shit here.
Yeah.
The most we see in Gainesville. I mean, Gainesville's probably a bad spot, but Gainesville is like all we see is like IPA companies. People that just make the beer little
That is
factories.
true. There's quite a few local breweries around town.
Brewery, yeah, that's the word for it. A little beer place. I don't know about. I'm not 21, so I don't know about that gang yet. But in Miami, I barely saw factories in Miami too.
Oh, well,
U.S.
yeah.
U.S. does a lot of residential stuff, especially in China. Everything's more packed together.
Yes.
In the U.S., people like to buy 300-acre houses or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much
Everybody
infrastructure.
everybody needs to have their own car. I mean, that is a American mindset. That's not the case everywhere in the world.
Exactly.
I mean, you might have a family that has one car, but then they actually have good public transportation or better transportation than what we have now. Like over in Europe, they got trains fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
But here we have buses that I've never ridden on because I don't think they're very good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's
And also because I have my own car.
yeah. I also have my own car. I'm not gonna get in the fucking bus. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
my serious conversation of the week.
Okay. Well, I mean, you make a good point, but like you did say yourself, there's multiple factors involved, but that's the one factor that drives you crazy.
Yeah.
That it should be produced over in China because it's cheaper.
Well, I'm not saying it should be, but that's the reason why. I mean, that's one of the big reasons why. It's all about money, and whether you hate it or you like it, or, however you feel about it. That's if you're in a business, you want to make money.
Mm-hmm. That's absolutely correct. And speaking of which, I am going to be having a new podcast, a solo show, and I'm going to be talking about budgets. So if you have a product that you're trying to produce, let me help you crunch the numbers.
For a percentage.
Well, it depends. We're talking about millions. Yeah, cut a little something to the brother.
Yeah, and while Andy's crushing the numbers, if you want to head over to my solo podcast show that I'm having about anime, you want to speak about some anime, go ahead and do that, and then I can entertain you for the while Andy's crunching numbers for you, for a percentage.
If that's your cup of tea. So I believe that's going to conclude this week's episode of Not Good Enough Podcast. Next week, David, you have a game that you want to be talking about, right?
Yep, me and our good friend Micah have been playing Remnant from the Ashes together. So
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and talk about that next week. We've been playing that a lot. So I'm probably going to have some good things and some bad things to say next week.
Okay. And also the next week's conspiracy of the week. Wow, it's a lot of weeks involved. That was pretty weak. We're going to be talking about the Rothschild family. Now that is some crazy deep conspiracy shit right there, man. If you don't know who that family is, which I know you don't because you're like, who is that?
Yeah, earlier I was like, who the fuck?
You're gonna be like, what the fuck? So We'll talk about that next week, and I think I'm gonna have to start doing some research tonight. 'Cause
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
I
start
can't
looking into that.
really wait.
I don't know what that is, so I'm gonna need. I'm gonna need to open up my third eye for this one.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely
But
right.
yeah, remember we are on a lot of different platforms, including Anchor, Spotify, YouTube, whatever you're listening on. We also have our own website, notgoodenoughpodcast.weebly.com. You can get all the episodes there, all the links. You could also send us feedback if you want to do that through that little conversation we have there. You can go ahead and do that. You want to tell us a story? Tell us a
Mhm.
story. We'll probably throw it on the podcast and try not to shit on you too much.
That's right. You can send us anything you want. We have an email address that we definitely want you guys to send to. It's not good enough cast at gmail.com. So feel free to send us a audio recording, or you can just send text. You can just email us. We'll be happy to listen and showcase it if you wish. But yeah, we would love to hear some feedback. You can comment on the YouTube channel. You can send us messages through the email, of course, or you can if you're on Facebook, you can message us that way as well. Comment on the show posts, whatever. There's plenty of means of communication.
It sure is. But yeah, that concludes this week's episode. Let's see, Andy, was that good enough?
Yeah, you know what? No, it's not good enough.
Oh man,
No, we can do better.
Yeah.
We can do better, man.
It's almost like we have a
18.
phrase to end the fucking show with that you just do not, you refuse to fucking say, dude.
I don't
We
know what you're
have
talking
a
about.
specific phrase. A specific phrase. Is it good enough? No, it'll never be
No,
good enough.
it'll never be good enough.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll catch you next week.
All right. Bye bye.